Hi guys, good night, good night. Welcome to the first live that Talks with Carly will be hosting. I am a bit nervous to be honest because I always making videos, away from people. So this is a kind of new thing to me, but we'll give it a try and we'll see how it goes. So just to touch on what we will be discussing. Of course, I'm waiting for my special guest to be invited. What we will be discussing is gender equality in society, and in this topic tonight, we are going to highlight the advantages and the disadvantages that gender equality may have on society. Now, just to make it clear, I personally do not have anything against gender equality. I do believe that it is possible and it can be achieved. However, I honestly believe that some of the factors that are linked into achieving gender equality, most women, because the ideology behind it is that women are the ones who actually want gender equality, right? Men are not fighting for gender equality, so we just, as men, we're going about doing our day stuff like normal. So it's really pertaining to the woman, right? I believe that there are some things that are linked to the achievement of gender equality that most women, if not all, are not actually ready to take, right? And I hope that while it is we have this discussion, that some of these points will be highlighted, and at least you as the viewer would have a better understanding and a better perspective, because I know you all have your own perspective on gender equality. And even though it is a term, right, that is mandated and it is in Google, if it is a pull up gender equality, you're going to get a result, right, stating that is equality, equal rights and justice for both men and women, right? But everybody has their own perspective of things, and I just hope it brings some sort of light or some sort of understanding as into if it's something, especially for the woman, if it's something that you would abide by, or if it's something that you would entertain or encourage, right? Again, as I said, I do not have no discriminative factors towards it. If it can be achieved and it would support both men and women, then by all means, all you go ahead and do it. You understand? But if it can't, well, let's see how the advantages and the disadvantages go as we speak on it tonight. I'm gonna just message this Gilly and see what's going on. Or also, I think I posted in my stories either yesterday or the day before that if anybody has any questions that they would like me to address, that you all could go ahead and mention it or DM me. Unfortunately, I didn't get any DMs, so I'm hoping as the live continues that you all could message them, and what I will try to do is to facilitate those questions coming down to the end of the live, so I will be able to answer you. Yeah. Excuse me. The other reason why it is I wanted to start a bit earlier is because, as I mentioned, I kind of nervous. Because speaking, making a video and posting it on Instagram, it's already out there. The comments, everything already out there. But this is a live interaction here, so I will be seeing that the reactions you all will be doing, and it's come like if I'm speaking to you guys as well. Even though I can't see all the faces. And one more thing to take note of, please. I know that this topic is a very sensitive topic. I would not be entertaining any negative or any derogatory comments or any discriminative comments on this topic, right? If it is you feel a particular way, you could keep that to yourself and just ask the questions, right? Because I am not trying this. All you're supposed to know Talks with Carla by now, and this is not a bacchanal page, right? I actually focusing on bringing some sort of stability, some sort of positive perspective into society, and we will take it from there now, boy. So she is here. And if it is you go out of your way and make any negative comments, I'm going to block you after the live. I'm dead serious, right? I not want that at all, yeah. I know only no talks with Kala is a cool fella and calm and humble and thing, but I see Jazz, my girl inside the live here, Jazz know me very good. I can be a complete caca hole when I'm ready, so let me try to have it clean and let me try to have it nice. And she is here. Give me 1 minute. Hi, good night.
Good night.
Good night, and how are you?
I'm good. Sorry for
Right,
being
right.
late.
So, of course, formalities, you know, as per any professional thing that people do, you could introduce yourself. You don't have to go into detail, any personal details, but you could just introduce yourself very shortly to these viewers, and
Well, I'm Kylie Beans.
and that's all they need to know, right? Right.
Yeah.
So we spoke prior to this live, right? And I tell you that I wasn't going to give you all the questions because I wanted them to be authentic, right? And I want
Yeah.
them to actually come from your perspective and not premeditated, right? That's the best way you can get
Right.
it. So
Yeah.
the first question, I'll give you one, which is the first question, right? So people,
Yeah.
we're going into it one time, right? What comes to your mind, or what is your idea of gender equality?
Well, in my opinion, it means that both male and female are equal,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's what I think about when I think about gender equality. I don't know if you want me to give my answer on how I feel about that,
No, no,
but
no. Your answer is your answer, right? I'm not going to try
yeah,
to change
but
your answer.
But that's how I think about it. I mean, whether we are equal is a whole different different
Right.
topic.
My perspective on that, yes, it is about the two genders becoming equal, but I think when it is you look at it from two main, I won't say issues. I guess in her internet is giving some problems. Guys, just give us 1 minute. Let me see if it is a connection, okay? Mm-mm-mm. Okay, so we had a slight technical difficulty there. Let me see if I can get her back. All I know this is my first time doing this, so you know, don't fight me, don't fight me, don't fight me.
Yeah,
Right? There's no
I'm back.
technical difficulties is a must, right? That is a must.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
understandable, right? So I guess everybody who here already heard your answer.
yeah.
My answer, what I was saying is that I believe that gender equality is also, equal rights and justice for both men and women. However, I think there are two main factors that now, first to begin, women are the ones fighting for gender equality, right? Not men. So everything that we are speaking about actually will be pertaining to the woman side of it, right?
So basically in the hot seat.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I pick here, right? So I think that my perspective is they are actually making it more about gender than equality, right?
Right.
Because yes, they want equality, but
Not
I
in
don't,
everything.
not in everything, right? And if it is you look at the word equality, is across the board. Like it have no if, no but, no maybe. Is one way how it is, right? But
Yeah.
that's just my take on it, right? So why do you think women are fighting for equality? What is the reason behind it?
I don't really know because I don't have that stance.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to be equal to a man. You
Okay,
know,
fair enough, fair enough.
when it comes to certain things, like if a man and I are up for the same job promotion and we have the same qualifications and these type of things, of course, in a situation like that.
Mm-hmm.
But in a general sense, and I think I guess it stems from things that happened in the past, in the 40s, in the 50s, in the 60s, where women didn't have a voice. they didn't really have a choice but to allow the man to lead. Now that women are breaking these glass ceilings and are becoming entrepreneurs and getting a seat at the table, I think now it's like, okay, well, I want to be equal. I think that's where the fight is coming in now. As time develops. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And as I rightfully said earlier on, back in the 40s, the 50s, especially in the 1970s, that was when, I don't know the exact date, but I think that is when feminism, so to speak, actually was, mandated as an uproar, and women actually stood for their rights, because in the past, we have always been, and when I mean we, I'm talking about globally, we have always been a male-dominated society, right? A patriarchal society, so to call it, where men were making all the decisions and women were the ones at home taking care of the kids, and now women are breaking out from that, right? And yes, it is possible they could do all of these things and still come home and take care of the children, right? They could do it. They're very well equipped of doing it, right? But again, as I said, it all boils down to the word equality, right? Because you can't be picking and choosing when it comes to equality. What is good for a man, and if it's that what you're fighting for, then you should be able to adapt, or or get accustomed to those things, right?
Yeah,
and
agreed.
Also, I believe the biological factor is overlooked, because yes, we both have hands and eyes and nose and kidneys and all these things.
But we're built different.
We are built different, right? And to be honest, it's just one thing. Is the fact that you all could be a children. Is the fact that you all have a womb, right?
I think it's more just that though, because women are naturally nurturing and soft, not in a bad way, but women have that natural instinct, I would say, versus men. Men don't typically have that natural nurturing, tell you about my feelings. You have to like
more rough.
They're more rough. They prefer to do all the dirty work, not in a bad way again. So I think it's more than just the physical part.
Well, agreed.
It has a lot to do with how we were raised as well, because female are usually raised to take care of the house, take care of the children, learn to cook, do all those things, and men are taught, to run business and take over the empire and, be mechanics and things of these natures. So I think not just the parts contribute to the differences. It has a lot to do with how we were raised as well.
That is true.
Contributes to that.
That is true. But would you say, right? Let us just and giving you an analogy here, right? If it is, we were to, let's say, remove the wombs from women, right? So you all can't bear children, you all can't experience menstrual cycles, none of those things, right? Would you say that more women would be capable of actually performing the hard jobs and duties that men are accustomed doing on an everyday basis?
I don't know that removing, a woman's womb would contribute to that. I don't know. I never really thought about that. But I just think women are just naturally prone to care about feelings and emotions.
Of course.
And when it comes to running a business, I'm not saying that there aren't women who could control their emotions and run an empire. But when it comes down to business, there's no feelings involved. So I'm not too sure. I can't say, I can't say if we didn't have a womb and stuff like that, if that would contribute.
All right. Well, of course, on the business side, you have a point, right? Because I remember there was a picture probably some years back where they were saying that, like if a woman was the president of the country, we would have been at war. Everybody would have just be bombing up the place now, boy. You understand? So
Yeah.
yeah, you all do have that nurturing, but it can be a bit emotional, and it could cloud all your judgment a little. I'm not saying that
Yeah.
men, it don't happen to men, it does happen to men as well, but in
Okay.
comparison, women more lean to that side. By the way,
I
guys,
think what
I am seeing the comments,
I'm not
right?
gonna say that.
Yeah, I am seeing the comments. I taking note of them. I taking note of them. Right. The next
Yeah.
question: do you think that women are deprived of opportunities in society?
I think back then they were, now not so much. I think
Right.
now, so we went through a transition. So at first, women couldn't do anything. No education, no working, couldn't even drive in some countries.
Mm-hmm.
It moves up to where, okay, we giving women a little bit of, they can now climb the ladder a bit, but not too high. There's a glass ceiling, you can't break that, you can't go past that.
Mm-hmm.
But now you see women are sitting at the table, women are running empires. I mean, we have a female president. I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Mm-hmm.
that alone should say, how far we have come when it comes to women being involved in a conversation. So I think no, not so much. I think we have a wider range now than we did back then.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think my take on that is yes, in the past, and again, like the late 60s and 50s, right, women were not given most rights as men. And they were actually deprived of a lot. Like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They was just stay home,
Yeah.
right? And of course, as time develops and went by, certain spectrums were made open to them and opportunities arise and they were able to be part and parcel of it, right?
Yeah.
However, personally for me, I still believe that a lot of women are not actually making a choice to assert themselves in the necessary area of expertise, so to speak, right? That most men are dominant in. Because,
So give me an example
all
of what
right,
you mean.
so, all right, let me break it down for you. Let us look at, and this is just from my personal experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I was in secondary school, and this is for people who have been to unisex schools, you would see that there were certain subjects that were designated like technical drawing,
Female.
woodwork,
Yeah.
right? And the females would have had homework, art, and all
Yeah.
these things, right? And
Right.
if it is if it is a female student wanted to do woodwork or mechanics or general electric, they would not
They
be
were not
deprived of
allowed.
that. They could have go and
Yeah.
do that, right? So it all kind of boils back to what you said earlier on, like the tradition and how we were raised as boys and girls growing up, right? But
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
now, even if it is you take it higher to the tertiary education, right? So like UTT, UV, and all these things, right? Even if a woman decides, yeah, what, I want to do auto mechanics, she still is not going to be deprived of applying herself to that course. You understand what I'm saying? So a
Yeah.
lot of women are not applying themselves into the more risky jobs, so to speak, as men, right? But
I think, sorry to cut you off. Go
no
ahead.
problem.
No, I was gonna say, I think that has a lot to do with, so for example, like you hear like women don't lift heavy things because it could affect your womb and these type of things. So could that be a factor why women are not trying to take the risk
It could, yes.
to, because I still have child to bear. I don't want
Yeah,
kids.
no, it could be a factor because, let us just say you work in Tiantec, right? And
Right.
you're not in the administrative sector, you're in the operational sector. So you going up on lines and pulling down pole and thing. You ain't going to send you up there when you're pregnant with a belly. They ain't going to do that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
However, as I said like earlier on, it could be from tradition, like how we were raised. Good. And even though
Yeah.
that is a particular factor, I don't think it is happening here in Trinidad on a wide scale, but in the foreign scale and globally, these women are still fighting for the rights where if I am working in the office and you up on the pole, both of us should get the same salary. That is how it
Mm.
is. That is how it is on the outside. That is one of the things
Right.
that they are fighting for. Which personally for me, I find is unfair. And not because that you are a woman. Again, I'm falling back on the word equality. because you sitting on behind a desk and I going down any road and digging up a pipe.
It's
I mean,
different risks.
it's different risk now, boy. You understand?
Yeah.
So I think that is another factor that they probably overlook, or it have the real extremist radicals who know exactly what they're doing and they're just going along with it. And
Yeah.
yeah. So do you think that when it comes to feminists, right? Do you think that some feminists are like too extreme and they're actually
Yes.
forgetting the purpose? You find so?
Yes.
Yeah, I find so as well. Because when it is a really look at it, again as I said earlier on, like I going up on a pool, my job way more threatening to you, and I don't really want to try and say too much on what it is I want to say. I'll have to be subliminal because of where I'm working, right? But where I'm working, I
Right.
see it with my own two eyes that women actually get treated better than the men. You understand?
Interesting.
Women get
Okay.
treated way better than the men, right? For those who know where I working, women get treated way better than the men. Like, we could be sick, we could have the flu, we could have diarrhea. Yo, you had to come to work.
Yeah,
You
but
understand?
let's look at it from like a relationship perspective, and this is why I don't understand feminists, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want equal rights, but you prefer that a man propose to you versus you proposing or making that first step. You prefer the man to approach you and pursue you
Mm-hmm.
versus you. Like, we want equality, but we're not willing to. Well, let me not say we because I'm not part of the feminist group, but
Mm-hmm.
feminists, they want equality, but only for certain things.
Convenience.
Because convenience, exactly. We don't want to take certain steps like, no, a man should be a provider, a man should be this. But if it is that you believe in equality and you're fighting this feminist, then what about the female being a provider? Not saying that there aren't females who aren't providers,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't want, you want A, but you don't want B. You want the positive, but you don't want the negative. It's very selective,
That's the
and
word.
which makes the whole feminist drive flawed.
Correct. Correct.
So
Because yes, equality is the main word here, Kai. Equality is the main word, right? Yes, it's gender equality, but equality is the main word. And that is the reason why equality is the last word in the sentence. You understand? Because it have a purpose, right?
yeah,
And like you said, like, yeah, we are the ones who would approach women, but you will never see a woman approaching a man, or even rare. Yes, it has a woman will, walk up to a man and approach him, or even, the way society is now with Instagram or Twitter, or whatever, you shoot a message through the DM. But a girl will like a man. She will see this fella posting on Instagram and she would not dare go in his DM. She would not dare make the effort to say, hey, I go in and see what's going on here. She will wait and
exactly.
wait and wait, and obviously some other man might be well thirsty behind she, and he's the one going to get through here. That's how I was saying. But
Yep.
I think it's the equality factor that a lot of feminists are really depriving themselves of, and they are focusing more on the gender side of it. Because if
Yeah.
this works for me as a woman, I will accept it. If it doesn't work for me as a woman, that is when I can play the card, well, I have feelings and I can't do this and I can't do that, So, yeah.
As somebody said here, you want the choice, but you don't want the consequence, and that's basically it.
That is it. That is it.
So
I see one of my friend, Nick's, right. She said to add to tradition, I think it was also the fact that they needed to protect women because they were the childbearers. Yes.
yeah,
Yes, that is exactly
yes,
why in the late 70s, they only picked men to go to war. Because you have 100 women, you have 100 men, right? You send all the men to war, all may not come back, but if 50 come back, they still have 100 women to reproduce and carry on population. So that is
yeah.
definitely one of the things that was happening in the past. It may sound a bit depriving, but that's how it was. Reese pieces, well, Cherise, inequality between gender roles is visible in the institutions of society. Example, children and custody, even when they can financially afford to, men are seldom gives custody of their children.
Yeah,
But how
that's
often
true.
does that happen? How often does that happen though?
Well, I
Especially in
think,
Trinidad.
yeah,
Especially in
yes,
Trinidad. Now
usually,
again,
yeah,
we
go
could
ahead.
only actually speak about things in Trinidad because we are not
Mm-hmm.
living in the States or any other country, even though all of
Right.
them have their own practices and culture. But I would say in Trinidad, even though it is visible, it really happens. It really happens. You could go ahead.
So I saw a question here that says, speak on the way society by the same race person.
Mm-hmm.
Speak on the way society built around women emotions, but not their male partners. So I'm throwing that question to you.
Right. Speak on the way society is built around women emotions, but not their male partners. For me, I would say because women are delicate. Also, again, because how you all were raised, to be soft. Even though men, I saw somebody say something about men being soft as well. I'll come back to that. Because you all are soft individuals, we tend to protect your feelings and protect your emotions before a man. You understand where I'm coming from? So if it is something has been done to a man, it's like he could take that, right? He will get
Yeah.
over that. But when it is
Mm-hmm.
done to a woman, it's like
How
uproar.
you could do that?
No, how we could do that? You understand? No, of course we have the extreme factors like rape and all these things.
Yeah,
Of course, I have to take that into consideration because there's nothing I or any man could say could justify what they're doing is right. That is wrong
agreed.
across
Yeah.
the board, right? But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, again, if it is a man goes into a police station and says, "Hey, I'll put something in my drink and rape me," that's not going to go anywhere. Even if it is he decides to take that to court, like how often would you hear a woman being sentenced to jail for doing that, or even if it's community service or whatever is the case, or a fine?
Yeah, never. Well, nothing turned out at least.
Not in Trinidad, at least. You understand? The police are going to laugh at you.
Exactly. Let me see if I have any more questions.
Reese, you were asking questions, boy.
Answered it. You don't quite understand. You don't quite understand what I'm seeing somebody left a comment here, but I'm not sure what it was referring to.
Which one it is?
Um, I don't want to butcher the person's name. McIntyre, last
Mm-hmm.
name.
Yeah, what she
She
said. I think
said, I find they use the word so freely and they don't even quite understand what it means. I'm not sure what
I
you
think
were
she I
referring
think
to
I
there.
think what she was referring to was when we was actually placing the distinction between gender and equality, like which one they were
Okay.
actually battling for, and I guess we answered that for yes, they're not focusing on the equality part, they're focusing on the gender part. Anything that works for them.
So, a previous question that she also said was that she agreed and disagreed with me
Mm-hmm.
because men can be soft and nurture, but they would sort of hide or put it to the side. Right? So, I guess you can speak on that as you're a male.
Men have been taught to hide our emotions. We have been taught to hide our emotions. We have been taught to not cry, to be strong, and we should always be strong. And personally, for me, I believe that the same way women have a masculine side that they could unlock, men have a feminine side that they can unlock as well. Right? Of course, one has to supersede one because of our gender. So, as a man, the masculine side should supersede the feminine side, but we have to be able to understand being delicate. We have to be able to understand being soft, being vulnerable, being expressive, because these are the things that you women do. And we need to
Yeah.
understand how you all feel when you're putting that out there to us. You understand? And it comes like the same thing with the masculine side. As a woman needs to understand, like, okay, when a man is depressed, he may not handle the situation the same way you would handle it. So if he decides, and I'm not saying that if he does these things that you should agree with it, but understand it. So if he decides to pull away from you when he is stressed out, or he decides not to open up, I'm not saying to leave him, but understand that he was cultured and conditioned to go that way. And you can't really be annoyed and irritated and even come aggressive towards him to break him from that shell. You have to come passive. You have to come soft and allow him that opportunity to be like, you know what? I could be vulnerable to this woman. I could open up to her and I could trust her. So it is a cycle that will take a while in society to break because we still have a lot of men like that out here. But hopefully they come around. Hopefully they come around.
So that was going to be my next question to what was mentioned, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that we are now moving away from men being emotionless and having this toxic masculinity to being more open with the way that they feel?
Two things with that, and Sharice actually mentioned it just now. One is that when a man, or most times that we open up to a woman and we are vulnerable to them, we get taken for granted. And I am telling you, as a man, nothing is hurt more when it is a woman take that for granted. Like when it is you come out honest and you're not hiding anything and she use that against you, that could send you up a wall. That could send you down a kind of road that you didn't want to go down as a man, right? And then, yes, it may push women away of being too masculine, but as men, it is very hard for us to find the balance of being both masculine and feminine at the same time. Like there will have to be certain situations that would require which one should supersede one. You know what I mean? So if it is, example, you as a woman going through something in your life that you need emotional support, that is when I will have to have that balance. Okay, when it is a doing this, I'll have to be a man, but when it is a doing this, I will need to be more delicate. And not every man has that balance. Not every man understands how to create that. It's a very gray area. It's a very, very gray area. And I don't think that any man would actually perfect that balance, to be honest with you. I think it depends on the opportunities that arise, and we just move according to suit.
And well, that kind of explains a little bit of how men and women are not equal when it comes to certain things, because women are expressive, right? We could be over dramatic at times, but we are mostly expressive. Men, on the other hand, everything is everything. Like, what is everything is everything? So that's like another way to see, like, okay, we're not really equal when it comes to certain things.
I agree. Shuri said, if we want equality, we have to come to continue to have conversations to heal and understand and be seen, because being seen and heard is basically at the core of inequality. Totally agree.
The real question is, can we be equal?
That was actually the last question. That was going to be the closing question, so we could get into that right
sorry,
now.
No,
that's okay. No, that's okay. Now, as I mentioned earlier on before I started this live, these are personal opinions along with some statistics, but it's personal opinions, right? I do not have anything against any feminists or anything like that. I'm not discriminative towards you. I do not believe that gender equality can be established in society. I believe women were built a particular way and men were built a particular way. Now, I'm going to go very deep even into before society, right?
Okay.
When a man and a woman has sex, right? And the woman gets pregnant, good? Naturally, I'm not talking about the man taking any testosterone, woman taking any estrogen, nothing. It's natural sex, right?
Yeah.
Even currently in society, there is no way we can identify what the gender of that baby is going to be until the fetus has reached a point where it could show through the ultrasound, hey, it's going to be a boy, or it's going to be a girl, right?
Yeah.
So basically, we as human beings have no control over what our gender really is,
Yeah.
right? So even from there, like from that inception is like we were built a particular way, we were born a particular way, we were made to be a particular way. You understand? So, and of course, men and women are totally different in a lot of, as much as we are similar, we are totally different in a very wide aspect of things. And I believe that balance needs to be there in order for women to be the soft side and for men to be the tough side, for men to be able to make tough decisions. Because, yes, women do make tough decisions, but again, and this is a fact that you all need to realize, emotions do cloud your judgment from time to time. And this is in comparison to men. Because men get the same thing, but at least sometimes we still take a pull back and be like, you know what? Nah, I feel I have to do it this way. You all would just be
I
headstrong and I'm going that way. I don't care what nobody say. Right? Or the majority. The majority more or less are speaking about. So, no, I don't believe gender equality could be achieved in society.
I was gonna say men are emotional when it comes to, well, this is on the toxic side, but men are
Mm-hmm.
emotional when it comes to when they get horn or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. But
Mm-hmm.
in a general sense, no. I'll even go further back to what you said. In order for a male or female to be born into this world, we can't be equal. Yes, there are a lot of different ways that makes it possible, but in a general sense, uh, a male and a female, in order for reproduction to take place, we
Mm-hmm.
have to be different.
Have to.
So even before, the female gets pregnant, that whole interaction, that whole sexual interaction, in order for that to take place, we have to be different.
I
A
agree.
female can't get herself pregnant, even though there's a lot of other ways, but
No,
naturally
there
or
are.
generally, right?
Mm-hmm.
A female can't get herself pregnant, and a male can't bear a child. So
How is
from
mankind going to continue?
inception, exactly, and so from inception, we see that we are not equal, and we weren't meant to be, because then there'll be nobody else.
Correct. And I will also add something to what you said about because yes, there are artificial insemination and a lot of other ways, right? And
Yeah.
I think that a lot of women actually bank on the concept of, okay, we don't need the men, we just need a sperm, right? And we will do
Mm-hmm.
everything else someday. But we don't think of the what ifs. Is the what ifs a lot of people don't think of, right? And because they might seem far of happening, we don't really pay attention to it. So again, I like to use examples and give scenarios. Good. If by the click of a finger right now, all the men on you just disappear and just be left with women, where are you going to get the spoon from? It might have so many spoon bank that the female doctors would know
Still
what to
there,
do.
yeah.
But they still there.
Yeah.
But when all I use up, what going on? Where the rest of
Yep.
men going and how are they going to get the rest of spoon? You understand? So I really don't think that it could be achieved equality because from inception we were not built the same way, and it's like it will all lead back to convenience, what works for
Yeah.
you, you know. So at least as a woman and a man here tonight, we can both agree on something, right?
Right.
And I really hope that this live brought some sort of insight to our viewers and some perspective, because possible that you all may have had your own ideology of gender equality and what it entails of. And this wasn't to throw you all off. This wasn't to try and change your perspective. You are entitled to that. But I do hope it brought some light and some perspective, and you learn something, because this is what I'm about, learning and teaching, because I learn as well. There are a lot of things Kai mentioned there tonight I really wasn't aware of, and I now know. So it's a learning experience and a growing experience. And I am really glad that this was my first live and it was successful. And I will be doing more of these with different people, and we will see how Talks with Carla will set up from here. So,
Yeah.
Kai, thank you so much for being a part and parcel of this live and sharing your input. It was very
No
informative for
problem.
me, and I hope for the viewers as well. And for the viewers, again, like I say, the world is filled with toxicity and bacchanal and drama. So for the 10 to 12 people who have been here and actually took the time to listen to this and watch this, it really means a lot to me. It means that you all are willing to learn and try and even change certain ways of your own personal life. And that is something I can respect and understand. So thank everyone for having me here. Kai, thanks for having you here. And we shall pick up on a later date. Goodbye, everyone, and
Yeah.
take care.
Bye.
Later.